You're listening to the Men in Blazers Media Network, Suboptimal Radio. Your beautiful mum, she received an email. She believed it was fate, right? She thought you were being kidnapped.
Yeah, I didn't tell this until recently because I was like, oh my God, this is so bad. But like, I had no idea. I just remember she came into my room and she's like, look at this email, because they used to send it to our parents when we were young. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. And she was like, no, this can't be right, like something like that. And then I had a game later that day. I literally didn't even think about it. I was like, yeah, okay, and like just went on about like getting ready for my game. And one of the parents was like, no, like that's the youth national team camp. And we were like, what? Like I remember she told me after the game, like, no, it was real. And we were like, okay, like I guess I'm going to Florida.
My guest today is an elite defender who's walked one of the most remarkable and inspirational journeys to the brink of World Cup wonder. The daughter of two Ethiopian immigrants who escaped political persecution, seeking opportunity in America, she's risen to become not just a Stanford University scholar and champion, but the #1 NWSL draft pick in 2022, a record-breaking dual trophy rookie, and despite her youth, a burgeoning leader on your defending World Cup champion US women's national team. How did she do it? Well, to paraphrase the words of Megan Rapinoe, she's just effing good. Incredible delight for me to welcome from that magnificent life force that is the San Diego Wave. It's Naomi Girma.
Hey Raj, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
It's honestly a delight to be with you. Can I just say, I adore watching you play. Even under the most intense pressure, you never seem to lose your focus. You chill. What's the secret?
I don't know. I think I feel like I'm a pretty composed player, and I think like in those moments, just like the preparation and like training in those environments and training under pressure helps me like feel confident and feel like I can perform like on the biggest stage.
It does feel like that inside too for you. A sense of zen, a sense of calm, or inside, like unbeknownst to us, the fans, are you like hitting the secret panic button that no one else but you can see?
I'm like freaking out. I don't know. I think just like in the moment, it's just like focused, locked into the game. And I don't think I don't know what I'm thinking or how I'm feeling. I think it's just like just playing. It's just how I play.
I also revere you because your story is so singular. It actually starts before you're even born. Your mum, Sebla Damise, and your father, Girma Owaka, emigrated to the United States from Ethiopia. Your mum, a student. Your dad, a refugee, fleeing Ethiopia by foot, escaping to Sudan, relocating to San Francisco, California with the help of the United Nations. They are both such great American stories. Your dad ultimately got a degree in electrical engineering. Your mum became a bank manager, chasing their dreams while shepherding yours in San Jose. And I'm fascinated, what parts of Ethiopia did your parents bring with them to California? What aspects do you think they passed on to you?
I think just like the values and community and family. I think in Ethiopia, like your your community is the most important thing, and I think in the US it can feel more singular, and it's just like just you and your household. And I think they kind of brought that with them, and I feel like I grew up around a community, whether it was in my neighborhood, on my team, the Ethiopians in the Bay Area. Like there was always a group around us, and I think they really leaned into that, and I think it helped them, and then that also ended up helping me and my brother.
Because another gift that you received from your parents was a deep love of football. And your dad said to have been quite a midfielder in his day. Indeed, in the regular Saturday park games that the Ethiopian American community of San Jose had on the regs, I believe he was dubbed Mr. Midfielder. Those when I heard that, those early days in the park, they feel like such an idyllic way to fall in love with our sport. What's your memories of that? Can you recall your first encounters with the ball?
Yeah, so he would play in his league, and then after they would put it on for the kids. So that's where I first started playing. They started it around like my brother's my brother's 2 years older than me, so like his age group, and then I just kind of like walked into that as soon as I could start like running, kicking a ball. And I just remember having the best time, and it was so informal. It was just, we were split into small, medium, big kids, and we would just play. And one of the dads would take each of the groups and just split us up, and we'd run around. And I just remember having the best time, and we'd just like run, go on the playground after. It was just like this whole thing. And it was just no pressure, no like end goal, no like next step in mind. It was just like, oh, this is so fun, we're going to keep going every Saturday.
The way you describe these magical days, these formative days, they sound like the most low stakes, the most low pressure introduction to the game, which I actually adore. And football really always should be so joyful for everyone at the outset. Who are you watching play back then? What footballing heroes or heroines early on inspired your cool stylings?
When I was younger, it was my dad definitely loved the Brazilian national team. So we were watching Ronaldinho, Ronaldo, like just like watching their YouTube videos. And that was before like we didn't have like cable, so we couldn't really get a lot of games then on our TV. So I think it was just like watching like the older, like Pele, like these are all of my dad's heroes, so it kind of turned into my heroes. And then as I got older and like could kind of like decide what I wanted to see, I think the U.S. women's national team was like huge inspiration. Just like them taking over throughout my youth, and just like seeing how impactful they were like on the field and off the field was really inspiring. Watching like Sydney Leroux, Abby Wambach, they were just like so dominant. And then I think in my position, like Becky Sauerbrunn.
The great Becky Sauerbrunn. What was it about her that young Naomi Girma looked at and was like, that is my North Star?
The composure on the ball and just like reading the game and the positioning. So yeah, I had always looked up to her.
What kind of a player were you? Were you born into this world as an omnipotent defender, or did you evolve into that role? How did you know you belonged back there?
First, after Mr. Midfielder, I played midfield. So I played that all the way through. I would play like at club, and then when I got called into youth national teams, I would play center back. So I was like kind of going back and forth. I feel like they kind of helped each other as I was developing, like at that age, being comfortable on the ball. And I think like the higher levels you go, the more center backs are responsible for like playmaking, building out of the back, and like kind of at the younger levels, it was more like the midfield. It would like bypass the defense, kind of. So I think like being in that role where I was always on the ball, always wanting the ball, springing the attack, growing up, like helped me feel more comfortable doing that now, like at a higher level, playing in the back.
Were the Naomi Girma the Ronaldinho days?
Yes, exactly. That's what I would call them. And then like playing like really, really getting back in center back through youth national teams and at Stanford. I think just like I just love defending. Like there's an art to it. I just think I don't know. I just love it. I think it's just like it's a grind, and it doesn't always like look the best or like look pretty, but like I think it's like one of the most important parts of the game. And I just think like the unity you have as a backline, how you have to work together, like it's never just one player who's like a great defender, like it's everyone like working together, being in the right spots, covering each other. And I think there's like so much that goes into it, and when it goes right, like it's really like satisfying and can like win games.
Is your father, a little part of him, the legendary Mr. Midfielder himself, think in any way he's a tiny bit disappointed he ended up raising a defender?
You'll have to ask him that, but probably yes.
So many of the players that do reach the pro game are products of like the same repeat, streamlined, elite pay-to-play ecosystem. We're so familiar with their pathway, road to glory, paved with expensive academies, clubs that demand limitless travel, serious financial investment. You took a very different route, the local roads, if you will. from the local YMCA to local club Central Valley Crossfire. So when US Soccer first invited you to camp, and I love this story, I think it was an under-14 camp in Florida, your beautiful mum, you weren't even allowed sleepovers back then for context. She received an email. She believed it was fate, right? She thought you were being kidnapped.
Yeah, I didn't tell this until recently because I was like, oh my God, this is so bad. But like, we literally were like, had no I just remember she came into my room and she's like, look at this email, because they used to send it to our parents when we were young. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. And she was like, no, this can't be right, like something like that. And then I had a game later that day. I literally didn't even think about it. I was like, yeah, okay. And like just went on about like getting ready for my game. And one of the parents was like, no, like that's the youth national team camp. And we were like, what? Like, I remember she told me after the game, like, no, it was real. And we were like, okay, like, I guess I'm going to Florida. But yeah, at that time, I wasn't even allowed to, like, really have sleepovers. And they were like, okay, go for a week.
I love where your mum's brain is. She just gets this and she's like, this must be some kind of elaborate prank, or even worse, yeah. It must be a kidnapping ring.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, I grew up in the local clubs. And like we would learn about like the next level, like kind of when I got there. We didn't really know about it before I was there. So like there was never this like elaborate, like you're gonna play here and then play here to get a scholarship and then go here. It was always just like, I was like, oh, like I want to do this. Like this is so fun. I want to keep playing. And then like all these doors opened with like the support of a lot of people around us who would kind of like be like, oh, you should try out for ODP, the Olympic Development Program, and stuff like that, and like put myself in these positions for people to see me and like scout me. So yeah, I think I was put in those positions by the help of other people, not really by my own doing.
So you weren't one of those human beings who was like, my goal always to represent the US women's national team. You were just like one level. Oh my Lord, there's another level, another level, another. It's the most remarkable, beautiful, poetic. Like there's a wonderful naivete to your rise, Naomi.
Yeah, and I think like I say this a lot about like early days playing at Malada with the Ethiopian community. It was just like I feel like I was like protected from a lot of the pressure. One, because my parents weren't putting it on me, but also because like I wasn't putting it on myself because I didn't. It's not like I had like an Instagram or something where I could see other people were going into youth camps or doing these things. Like there was like, I really didn't see it anywhere. It was like just me where I was at, just like playing because I loved it. So I think like I saw the national team and I was like, oh, like I looked up to them. I was like, that's great. But like, I didn't know there was a path, you know?
Your parents, the one thing they did emphasize was academics before soccer, and the offer that ultimately came in from Stanford. It must have been thrilling news in the Girma home. The Cardinal, really a production line of national team footballers from Kelly O'Hara, Kristen Press, Alana Cook, Tina Davidson. But for being honest, which part were your parents more excited about, the soccer or the Stanford?
Definitely the Stanford. Like, not even a question. Like, I don't think realized how much of a soccer powerhouse Stanford was. It just like, I think it just aligned with like what I wanted as far as like academics and like, it's like 30 minutes from San Jose. It's like close to home. I definitely wanted to be in California because like I still am. It's so hard to leave. So yeah, it's just like the coach, the staff, just like the campus. I don't know if you've been. It's beautiful. So yes. Yeah. So I feel like everything kind of like came together, and yeah, I'm so grateful.
When you got the confirmation of your place, did your mum open the envelope and be like, another kidnapping attempt?
No, we knew what was happening by then. I had been, I think, to like a U17 World Cup, so we were more in tune with the soccer world.
You majored in symbolic systems, a degree that somehow, and this is mind-bending, it melds psychology, philosophy, computer science, and linguistics. And you weren't just solving problems on the football field, you're also wrapping your brain around applied matrix theory, minds and machines, triangulating intelligence. The whole time you were there, were you really thinking of becoming a professional footballer? Or was part of you like plotting to become the next Steve Jobs?
Both at the same time. I mean, I think I went to Stanford and I was like I wanted to get everything I could out of it. Like I was just like quickly realized this is incredible. Like there's so many incredible people, professors, like student athletes. Like it was just like kind of like it felt like the best of everything. And I think quickly realized, okay, I'm here for 4 years. Like let me see like what I can do. And I think like on the academic side, like it can be daunting, like as a student athlete, because you're coming in, you're in season, it's like you're managing all, it's so much different from high school. But I had a lot of older teammates who like were also like pretty ambitious academically. Like Alana Cook was a symbolic systems major, like Sam Hyatt, Jojo Harbour. These were all people who were in the classes above me. So I think like seeing them, and then we had Michelle Zhao, who's now in medical school, just like crushing it. So I think seeing all of these people who like were crushing it on the field, but also like were challenging themselves academically, made me believe like, okay, like I can do that too. You know, like it was like the culture on the team. It wasn't like you were overstretching yourself.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, this is not the first time we've engaged with symbolic systems on this podcast, because it was also studied by our friends Andy Sullivan, Alana Cook, Tina Davidson. I'm honestly, when I speak to them, I'm like, all we need for our men to win the World Cup is to get Weston McKennie and Luca De La Torre brushing up on their methods in psycholinguistics. But in all seriousness, I would love to know how your lofty cerebral studies, or whether they do even, do you think they impact the way you play? Because you are such an intelligent footballer. Looking at you, you do seem to be a problem solver. Like, are you thinking about, you know, the philosophy of action when you stymie opposing strikers, reading their forward movements with your understanding, your way of removing their opportunity before it begins? Do you see a connection?
Maybe like an indirect, you know, like I wouldn't say I'm actively thinking about it, but like I think for me it's more like off the field ambitions, but like because I feel like we were also learning so much about the game while we were there too. So like I feel like they go hand in hand. Like it is like it is a lot about studying the mind. And I don't know, did Andy or Alana or any of them say they use it on the field? Because maybe I'm not tapping into the major.
Yeah, I mean, Alana Cook told me she's constantly solving Rubik's Cubes in her head, constantly on the field. But the off-the-field ambition, like, what was it? Is it like genuinely, what were you thinking? If a professional footballer or... I
like want to set myself up to do whatever I want to do after. And I think I was thinking like professional football, and then maybe on the side or later I can use this. But I think I like realized like this is such a unique opportunity. Like while I'm here right now, I can like do all these things and like be a part of these different communities. And I like loved that. So yeah, I was like thinking professional football. And I wasn't expecting to be like a first draft pick or like some, like I think I like really rose while I was at Stanford and like really like grew my game and like kind of like grew the scope of like where I could go.
God, it's fascinating, your Stanford experience, because you weren't there alone. You won a national title. You played your way to glory. That team, I mean, Alana Cook, Kat Macario, Sophia Smith. You know, I can't imagine what training was like for you and Alana with Sophia Smith's warp speed and just ruthless goal hunt hammering towards you. Kat Macario buccaneering through all obstacles, the ball just so comfortable at her feet. You and Alana Cook try to repel them together. Did your professional progressions grow linear together? Was there a sense amongst the three of you where you're like, you know, we can do whatever we want in this game? Were you having those conversations together about ruling the football world?
No, or I wasn't a part of that. I think at the time, like, yeah, I don't think I realized how special it was like my freshman year, because we were all playing together. Like Tierna was still there. There was just like so like the training was like so intense and just like high quality, you know, like and yeah, like going against like Soph, Kat, like Maddie Haley, like all of these like just like dominating forwards was like I think great for me, you know, just to like get up to level.
Hard at the beginning.
Yeah, I think it was a huge jump because I mean I'd been into camps and stuff, but like to keep that training level for like in college, it's like for year round. I think that was like that trained me like mentally to like just like show up every day and be ready to work hard and train hard. Because I think like at the club level, like growing up, like the play like it wasn't as high of quality obviously as at Stanford. So like I wasn't having to fully expend myself every day. So I think getting to Stanford, training and like seeing like at the time like Alana was a senior captain of the team. And so and like Jordan DiBiase and all these players, I think like being able to see their training habits and like getting that ingrained in me like early days was really important.
I want to talk to you about your 2022 because, whoa, Naomi, you had some year. In many ways, Naomi Girma owned 2022, but you also lived all the emotions. Just before the year began, December 18th, 2021, you were selected first pick in the 2022 NWSL draft. Really, just an incredible achievement.
With the first pick in the first round of the 2022 NWSL draft, San Diego Wave FC select Naomi Girma.
And when your name was called, you're in London, of all places, currently in the midst of a bucket list adventure. You and your college mates set what must be some kind of record for Premier League games watched. I think it was like Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea, Tottenham, Liverpool, and then Arsenal women to boot. So you were there live on draft with your mates from your hotel room. When your name was called, you just giggled out loud and it was beautiful to witness. Take us into that room. What was that like?
It was really fun. It was a bit of a chaotic. We were staying in like this tiny Airbnb and we were like trying to make the background look nicer because it looked so bad. We like moved a painting. We had like a lamp in front of us with like a light coming on us because it was so like dark and it was December in London. So like it was like my best friends with me. And we had planned this trip and then like expecting a draft to be in January and then they had it in December. So, and I was like, oh no, like it's in the middle of my trip. Like, but it ended up being remote. So it worked out. And, yeah, it was just like, it was so fun. We were like sitting, we were like, oh, we hope the Wi-Fi works. Like, and then, yeah, I heard my name called and we were just all like giddy and so excited. And yeah, it was just this fun moment to have with my best friends.
You think of this first draft pick moment. You don't think about the first draft pick sitting there thinking, please let the Wi-Fi work. Please let the Wi-Fi work.
Oh my gosh. I was stressed.
But they've only just invented electricity in England. So you lucked out more than I can tell you. But then your mum called. Mm-hmm. Your beautiful mum. Do you remember what she said about her old Toyota Camry?
Yeah. She was just like, oh my, like she was so excited. I was also like 5 minutes before on the phone with her trying to help her figure out how to get onto the stream. So it was this whole, like, it was not a peaceful like build up. But after like, we just like she called me and she was like, oh, do you remember like all of those rides in my Toyota Camry? And we would always joke about this Camry because she got it. I'm in like 2000, which is the year I was born, and it literally went through my whole like soccer career. And we were just like we took it all over California, like all the tournaments, all the games, and yeah, it was just like the spot where we would just spend our weekends like driving 2 hours or like 4 hours both ways, just like chatting and like listening to music.
Those are the moments of the draft. There's you giggling, there's the joy, the wonder, the future that now opens. But your mother, that Toyota Camry, apart from some very savvy angling, and I hope Toyota are listening for an incoming sponsorship, in that moment, she was thinking about the investment, the pathway, the devotion, the sweat, the exhausted investment that a community had put behind you to get that.
Mm-hmm. She would have done it even if she didn't think I wouldn't end up in that position or whatever it may be. But like she was just thinking about all that had gone into it and like how it was all like just like worth it, I guess, or like coming to this like bigger moment that we like never expected. But like it was just like, yeah, just so cool that it ended up being like this.
We need to acknowledge the truly tragic side of this memory. And even in lightness, there is dark, and in darkness, there is light. But one of your best friends from that trip, your Stanford teammate, Katie Meyer, a phenomenal goalkeeper, a remarkable human being. She passed away last March, tragically, taking her own life. And just before you were called to begin a new chapter of your own, that type of loss, it's more than many people can fathom, and I can't imagine the pain that you and your Stanford community have experienced. But your father is said to have instilled the following lesson in your family, a lesson he took with him from Ethiopia. He says, people are powerful. You can never let go. You can never forget them. Naomi, what was powerful about Katie's friendship? How do you keep it with you?
Katie was one of my best friend, and like one of the most like passionate, unapologetically herself like people I've ever met. And she had these incredible goals for herself and for her friends and for everyone, and she just inspired everyone to like really chase their dreams and believe they could get there. So at the start of my first year, that's like something you never expect to happen, but I think for me it felt like I was playing like for both of us and like living out this dream for both of us, being professional footballers and representing the US and all these things. So yeah, it was like a heartbreaking moment for me and so many people, but we knew she'd like want us to turn it into something that could like help others, and like that's what her family's doing, and like a lot of us as her close friends are trying to do too.
Playing for both of us meant a return to California for you, where you joined that dazzling expansion club, San Diego Wave, for what was truly been a historic year, linking up with the likes of living legend Alex Morgan. And I got to say, Naomi, you made the leap to the pro ranks. Almost looked like a breeze. You landed multiple awards, set records, you were nominated for the MVP accolade, and became the first ever rookie to win both Rookie of the Year and Defender of the Year. It looked so effortless again from the outside. From the inside, was it though?
No, I definitely wouldn't describe it as effortless. I think going into San Diego, I was just like, I want to learn, like I want to be open. And I think as a rookie, there's so much information you're taking in, and it's just important to be receptive to all of it. And I think that will make the jump like as easy as possible. And so I think like going into preseason, just like it didn't matter that I was a first draft pick or like a top college player. It was like, now I'm here at San Diego, and like none of that really matters. Like it's like, how can I like grow in this environment and like impact this team? And I think just like taking that mindset and like from day one, like helped me really like grow. And we had great like Alex and like a lot of other like experienced players were like very like willing to share their knowledge, share their wisdom, and kind of like guide us.
What was the best piece of advice you got from Alex?
Watching her example, like as a professional, I think just like every day, like doing the right thing, like whether it's like doing your activation before training or like stretching after, or ice bathing, like just like staying committed to those habits every day. I think that's something I learned like from watching, like just like the commitment to excellence every day.
You also collected your first magical senior national team appearance shortly after leaving Stanford. While just launching your career with the San Diego Wave, US women's coach Vlatko Andonovski melded you into his evolving roster of new generation talents. April 2022, you collected your first start, 9-0 rout of Uzbekistan. Your Stanford pal, Kat Macario, scored twice in that game. You slotted seamlessly into the back line, paired alongside ex-Stanford teammate and symbolic system sister, Alana Cook. Naomi, what feeling did you have? What words did you exchange of Alana and with Kat as you walked out together in the starting lineup, finally, with your Stanford teammates, but this time wearing the US crest?
They were really sweet and like really encouraging. And yeah, I think it was like more after the game, just like talking about how special it was that we were like still here together. For me, like that moment was so special, like to be with them, and then also like to get my first cap. It just felt like all these things coming together in my first year, and I was so grateful that like it happened for me then, and like I was able to get that experience and like continue to get more caps. And like just like, you know, being a younger like defender, just like being like, you know, like you need the trust of the group and like of the coaches, like when you're playing in the back. And I think like I was grateful that they trusted me to put me out there and like kind of develop from there.
What did your parents say? I mean, I can't imagine what it must have been felt like. This really was a family achievement to have a daughter that played for the United States of America. What were their words?
They were just so happy and proud, and like they always say like we, whenever it's like anything, like if we win, they're like, we won, or like when we lose, my mom's like, I'm so sorry we lost, like. And I think like that just kind of like explains how we view we all view the whole thing. It's like it was all of us together, and it's never just like me. So yeah, I think there was like a lot of just like us being like just like grateful and like so happy, and they were really proud.
In the year since your official introduction, you've already become a de facto member of Vlatko's defensive unit, and you've experienced some real highs, playing at a sold-out Wembley against England, smiting Germany in New Jersey. We've watched you face up to elite attackers Beth Mead, Alex Pop. You've also experienced the trauma of a run of 3 straight losses, longest losing streak for the US since 1993. But in great days and challenges, I can't help but admire how quickly you become a leader. You seem to lead vocally and by example. Megan Rapinoe said about you that there's very few players in my whole tenure that have stepped in and it's just been like, oh yeah, that's a first person on the team sheet kind of person. What is it about you that prepares you? Because you did the same thing in San Diego. Your ability, your calm confidence, your advanced philosophy and artificial intelligence training. What is it that Pino points to here, Naomi, that makes your leadership so quickly clear to everyone on every team you walk on and at such a young age?
The artificial intelligence training, for sure. I think, honestly, I would say more, it's the support from people around me. And I think just like the preparation that, you know, allows me to like go into a new group and like make that impact. And I think like, you know, if you asked me at my first camp, I wouldn't have said that at all, you know. And I think it was just like as going into camps, learning the system, learning how we wanted to play, and then like just from there like growing more into like my personality and who I am. And I think you know, something that helps is getting to see like leaders in the team, like Becky, Lindsay, Alex, like just Kelly, so many of these players who are just leaders in their own right, just like by what they do. And I think it's just like bringing your full self to the table and like encouraging others to do the same and like play their game and play free. I think that helps.
I love that. I really do, because you're on a team that is so young in half, but it's also so stacked with veterans who've not just won, but they've changed the game for women globally. You know, Alex Morgan in particular, you've mentioned the legacy that these players on your own team are going to leave off the field as a lesson that you aspire to. You know, you said about Alex, I feel like I'm lucky I get to be with Alex in our club environment. the training level, the hard work she does, but also how much she takes ownership of the standards of off the field for their team. And whenever they leave the game, they'll be leaving it in such a better place than how they found it. And I'm curious to know, that responsibility, is it passed on between generations, or is it just subliminal? Or do veterans like Alex, Rapinoe, Becky sit the young leaders down and inform you of your duty?
I think it needs to be passed on between generations. I think it's probably being passed to like one above me right now, and then we'll continue to go down, just like learning all the ins and outs of like US soccer, NWSL, everything. Like there's so much behind it. And yeah, like you said, like I think one of the things I admire the most is like this like pursuit for equality. And I think it doesn't matter all the time if it directly affects them. It's just like bringing others up with them. And I think that mentality is like, it's so inspirational, and it's something that our generation will not let like die with us, you know, like we need to keep that going, and just like the commitment to leaving the game better than you found it. And I think for us, like, especially for me, like coming in last year with the CBA being passed for US soccer and NWSL, I was like, wow, this is so great. But I think like there's always more, you know, like it's just like that, just knowing there's always more. And I'm sure Alex will sit me down one day and tell me exactly what I should do, but I hope she does. But yeah, I think she's like been a champion for women in the game, but also just like in general. And yeah, I think it's one of the best qualities about her.
Amen. The World Cup, so close now, we can almost touch it. Before we know it, Naomi, please God, you'll be in Eden Park in Auckland, where the US plays its first game against Vietnam in just 71 days. Be honest, how much is the World Cup on your mind? It is going to be the biggest one ever globally watched. Is it ever present in the back of the Girma mind, no matter what you're doing?
Yeah, I have my sights set on it, and that's a big goal for me. But I think I'm also conscious that it's important to focus on where I'm at, like at any given time. And I think that only serves me better, like in the future. I think that helped me a lot last year, like getting called into camps, and, you know, like we're getting called in throughout our season. So like every training, every game is like helping us prepare for these moments, both for Wave and for the US. So I think just like trying to stay, yes, it's in my mind. How could it not be, you know, but trying to stay present and yeah, just make the most of every moment.
What do you think of when it is in your mind?
I mean, you said it's going to be the biggest World Cup ever, like, or I think it would just be like incredible. And just like to compete with that group of women is like a dream of mine.
Are you a visualizer? Do you close your eyes, you know, standing for the national anthem at New Zealand's Eden Park as the US look to make history? It's back to back to back, you know, just after such an incredible journey of your own, Naomi, the wee journey with your mother and father. Do you visualize, you think about what it will feel like to be standing amongst that squad, hearing that national anthem play?
Yeah, it just gives me chills. I think every game I play for the US, running out onto the field, hearing the national anthem, I always just get this, like, I have this moment of like, oh, this is so cool, this is incredible. And like that's something I don't want to lose. And yeah, I think to have that at a World Cup would be just incredible. And yeah, I'm hoping it happens.
Do you think of your own journey in those moments?
Usually after, if I'm like reflecting, but I think in that moment, I just like, I just think about like, yeah, like my family and just wanting to perform and like do my best for my country.
I mean, it's incredible to me, Naomi. Your journey is amazing to listen to. Your parents, oh, your mum, incredible. Such a central part, clearly, of who you are. And success, it does seem like the way you describe it, the culmination of a journey that they started when they left Ethiopia. What's the greatest life lesson you take from your own journey?
I'll say I have two. I would say one, I say it a lot, but just like the power of community and the way that can like change one person's life, one family's life. And yeah, it wasn't just my parents or the Ethiopian community, it was teammates, parents coming to get me and all these other things. So I think just like the power of like tapping into that. And I think just like not being afraid to ask, just like for whatever it may be. And I think as a first generation kid, there's a lot that you don't know and a lot of help that you need, like whether it's like college or whatever it is. And I think sometimes it can be like scary to ask and it's like embarrassing and like you feel like you should know, especially in the soccer world when it does feel like there's this path to get to the top. So I think just like reminding yourself like it's okay to not know everything and like it's okay to ask others.
Was that a hard lesson for you to learn, Naomi, or did it come naturally?
I think it came naturally to my parents, but for me, it was harder to learn. And every place I got, I'd be like, oh, like I don't want to seem like I don't know what's going on.
It's incredible. Honestly, your journey is an honour to listen to. Naomi, to you, to your family, to your community, to the San Diego Wave and the United States. Godspeed, Naomi.
Thank you.
Courage.